1 out of every 5 deaths in the US are caused by heart disease. And these forever chemicals, they can increase your cholesterol, your blood pressure, they can mess up your thyroid, slow your metabolism, and even cause it into your atelate cell membranes, which can increase the risk of blood clots and cardiovascular events. So, there's a huge range of health implications ingesting these chemicals. So you really do want to avoid them at all costs.
Hello, welcome to the Myers Detox Podcast. I'm Dr. Wendy Myers, and on this show, we talk about everything related to heavy metal and chemical toxicity, the health issues caused by these toxins. It's every imaginable health issue and symptom, which is why I do this show. I want to make the connections for you between your health habits and the products you're choosing and the foods you're eating and the air that you're breathing so that you can make those connections between the toxins you're ingesting and some of the symptoms and health issues that you're dealing with today. I really want to help you make those connections. And then on this show, we also talk about anti-aging. We talk about bioenergetics, one of my favorite topics, and using bioenergetics to heal your health. But on this show today, we're going to be talking about how PFAS, the PFAS forever chemicals in cookware affect heart health. This is a really, really interesting show. So we're going to be talking about why you want to avoid Teflon, in case you haven't gotten that memo yet, and you want to avoid other nonstick cookware because they contain PFAS forever chemicals. And these forever chemicals in nonstick cookware increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. They raise cholesterol. They promote high blood pressure. They cause weight gain, metabolic issues, thyroid issues, and many, many other symptoms and health problems. It's really shocking. So some of these symptoms, they call it the Teflon flu, include headache, fatigue, sore throat, shortness of breath, and even muscle aches. And there's a longer list than that, but just to touch on it. And PFAS chemicals and pesticides are some of the most difficult toxins to remove. That's why they call them forever chemicals. And they're stored in your fat. So we touch on that. And there's a reason these forever chemicals cause metabolic issues and weight gain, because when they're stored in that fat and you don't have the ability to excrete them because you're not doing detox protocols, you're not taking supplements or detox supplements to help remove those, they're just going to stay there in your fat no matter what you're doing, short of starving yourself. And so we also talk about how even one scratch on a nonstick surface can release 9,000 particles. But heavy scratching where, there's chipping of the nonstick can release 2 million particles into your food. So it was based on some research. So we also talk on the show about safe cookware options, including ceramic. It's nonstick, long-lasting if cared for properly, but the 100% ceramic can break really easily. We talk about how stainless steel is very safe. It's durable, but avoid pans with any nickel or lead content in them. We talk about cast iron is also safe, but there are iron toxicity concerns personally, so I can't personally recommend those, but they are one of the safer options out there. But I think a lot of people have iron toxicity issues, and even if they have low ferritin or low iron on their blood test, you can still be iron toxic. But that's a whole other podcast with Morley Robbins that I did, if you want to dig into that. We also talk about some cookware do's and don'ts. So you want to avoid heavily scratched or chipped nonstick cookware or any type of cookware. No scratched or chipped cookware at all, no matter what kind it is. You also want to avoid greenwashed nonstick that's actually toxic, that actually has PFAS in it, the forever chemicals. It doesn't matter if it says no Teflon, it can still have the toxic particles that are in Teflon, even if it doesn't have the Teflon trademark on it. You also want to avoid enamel-coated pans there's a lot of enamel-coated cast iron out there. Those can chip and they can contain lead and cadmium and other chemicals that are in the glaze, the enamel glaze, especially if they're brightly colored. So you just want to beware there as well. So our guest today, David Barrett, he's the proud owner of Chef's Foundry. It's a renowned non-toxic cookware brand. And with a passion for safe cookware and kitchenware, David has established Chef's Foundry as a trusted name in the industry. And his mission with Chef's Foundry is to provide home cooks with the tools they need to create delicious meals without compromising their health. And through his leadership, Chef's Foundry continues to set new standards for excellence in cookware, inspiring chefs of all levels to cook with confidence and peace of mind. You can learn more about David and his line of cookware at chefsfoundry.com/Wendy. David, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you started a cookware company?
Yeah, sure. So, my brother and I started Chef's Foundry about 7 years ago now. And around about that time was when my father actually got diagnosed with mesothelioma, which is like a rare form of cancer. And as you can imagine, we were kind of like trying to look online to see what we could do to kind of help him and just do a bit of research into what exactly this is. And as we were doing that, we kind of like came across forever chemicals. And during that research, we kind of also discovered the DuPont scandal. And DuPont are the manufacturers of Teflon. And the scandal, basically, what happened was they were knowingly producing non-stick cookware using these forever chemicals, and also dumping these chemicals into like the surrounding areas where they were producing. So it is a huge lawsuit that were filed against them. But at the time, we were selling bar and kitchen utensils, and we really wanted to kind of like bring a product to market that could help people's health. So that's kind of like what led us to create the Pieces 100 cookware range.
So why don't we talk about some of the toxins that are typically found in cookware? Because I don't think people realize how many toxins enter their body just from the cookware that they're using. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. So can you break that down for us?
Yeah, of course. So generally speaking, you're going to find a lot of forever chemicals, and also aluminium, lead, and cadmium can also be found in there. So you want to avoid any cook. They are being stamped out, but you are still going to find them in certain ones. So you do have to kind of like do a little bit of research yourself. Um, but these forever chemicals technically fall under like a group of about 10,000 chemicals, and I think they're constantly kind of adding new chemicals to the forever chemical group. So you really do need to avoid any cookware that has this in them. But it's not just cookware, right? You can be found in clothing, cosmetics, tap water, like I mentioned before. So, you really do need to kind of find out exactly what it is you're buying, whatever that is.
Yeah, and the PFAS chemicals are some of the most difficult to remove from your body. So pesticides and the PFAS, the forever chemicals, are really the most resistant, and they get stored in your fat. And it's one of the reasons why they can just do everything to lose weight and not lose weight. The body's not going to let that fat go, because it's essentially a storage receptacle for all of these different chemicals.
Yeah, exactly. It's like impossible, like to break them down. So it's you're just putting these chemicals into your body, and your body's trying to like filter them out, but we'll struggle to do so. And so it just like you said, it affects pretty much every kind of aspect of your body.
Yeah, and let's talk about how these PFAS chemicals can affect cardiovascular disease, because I think this is a connection that many people really don't think about. I mean, they know that forever chemicals are bad for us, but can you break that down a little bit?
Yeah, exactly. So, one out of every five deaths in the US are caused by heart disease. And these forever chemicals, they can increase your cholesterol, your blood pressure. They can mess up your thyroid, slow your metabolism, and even incorporate into your patellate cell membranes, which can increase the risk of blood clots and cardiovascular events. So, it is a huge range of health implications of ingesting these chemicals. So you really do want to avoid them at all costs.
So for anyone listening that really wants to detox their body, go to heavymetalsquiz.com. I created a quiz for you. It only takes a couple of seconds. Based on some lifestyle questions, you can get your toxicity score and get a free video series that answers all of your frequently asked questions about how to detox your body. Check it out, heavymetalsquiz.com. Yes, yeah. And I think that, heavy metals also contribute to heart disease as well that we can get from our cookware. And yeah, it's just really the number one way that people are dying is from heart disease. So you really want to think about every potential source where you're getting these forever chemicals. And I'm glad there's so much more awareness about this, but people still want to use their nonstick pans, and they have their nonstick rice cooker, and they've got their nonstick air fryer, and their nonstick utensils and whatnot. So I think people just don't realize how many different areas in our kitchen where they're using and ingesting these forever chemicals.
Yeah, and I think even before I kind of knew about this, I'd obviously heard about this, but before I really dived into this, I was probably guilty of like using some Teflon pans. I'm sure my parents had them years ago. They just weren't kind of like educated on this. So, it's quite shocking. You can think you're kind of like eating healthy and putting the right stuff into your body, but then that's like kind of just it destroys your thought of actually what you're actually doing there.
Yeah, and I think I recently saw a meme that was saying that if there's one little scratch on the nonstick coating that can release 9,000 particles into your food. But if there's a lot of scratches, or there's even kind of like chipping going on, which a lot of people use, they just use their pans until they're just at death's door. They have tons of scratches on them. You don't want to use that. That can release up to 2 million different particles and all the toxins in those particles into your food. So you don't want to use any sharp utensils on your nonstick, or you don't want to use nonstick at all. But if you have some, you do not want to use any that has any scratches on it. And to avoid the scratches, you don't want to use metal utensils in your rice cooker or whatever you're doing. I don't want you to use those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of people, they still have this stuff in their kitchen, and they just don't really have any idea what they're doing.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more.
Let's talk about how people can mitigate the exposure to Teflon. So what are some things, if they are using these types of pans, what are some tips you can give people if they just their mother has them, or they're staying at a rental place that has them, or they don't have any choice?
Yeah.
Like, give us some tips on the Teflon.
I mean, I wouldn't use them personally, I feel like it's easy to say that, right? But once you look at kind of what they were doing, I lose faith in companies like that. Kind of like going back to like how my dad got ill and after when he got diagnosed, and that like kind of all the stuff that came out after that was shocking, with like how certain things happened where he knew where he actually got this form of cancer from someone he was working with. And after it came out, stuff like that, how like certain things were covered up by the government, it's shocking, right? So like after I learned about DuPont and the scandal, and that, I was kind of like, well, I'm never going to use Teflon again, even if they say that it's free from these forever chemicals, which I believe they do. But I just wouldn't trust a company that's happy to do something like that. um yeah, personally, me, I just lose faith, and I would say avoid Teflon at all costs. We know it can make you quite sick. Heated above 500 degrees Fahrenheit, it can cause Teflon flu, which is very similar to the flu. It can cause, headaches, shortness of breath, muscle aches. It's not very pleasant. So highly avoid Teflon. And if you are looking for to buy a new pan, just do some research on the company. Find out exactly who it is you're buying from. Speak to support staff. Check FAQs. Ask for documents to see exactly what the pans are made of. After doing that, you should get a clearer picture of who you're buying from and what it is you're actually buying.
Yeah, and I think people don't realize, when they're heating up the pan, they're getting ready to cook. They don't realize, especially if sometimes people forget or they just leave the pan on there too long, you're getting all these fumes from the heated up Teflon. And there's also a problem with greenwashing because people know about the dangers of Teflon. So there's pans that say, oh, they're safe non-stick. I think there's a lot of products out there that are still Teflon, but they just have them they're just a different name. It's still made with the forever chemicals, and it may not be the Teflon trademark, but it's just that there's a greenwashing going on in the whole non-stick cookware industry as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I think a lot of the store-bought cookware, you can see exactly what the coatings are made of. I was in the store the other day, and you can see like if they've got like a special ILAG coating or another a company. ILAG are like the I think they're like the runners of the coating industry at the minute. I think they're like at the forefront of developing the best non-stick coatings. So they're like kind of one I would suggest you look for if you are looking for a special non-stick cookware. But yeah, you're right. I think a lot of people can say, "Oh, it's safe," but it's technically not.
Yeah, there's probably not any regulation on cookware. Like the marketers can say whatever they want on the box, right?
Well, I think that's pretty much the whole marketing industry, right? You see how people get around stuff like that in the stores and that. So yeah, I don't think there was a huge amount of regulation on what people can claim.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of individuals, and there's a lot of, foot soldiers out there. They're doing testing on different types of cookware. So just, to go out and find those people like Lead Safe Mama, and just there's other people out there that are doing all kinds of testing on cookware. And so what cookware do you recommend that people use? Because there's a lot of safe cookware options out there, but what do you recommend to people?
Yeah, so there's three types that I personally like and that are safe. And obviously the first one is ceramic. Generally it's non-toxic and can last for years if you look after it properly. Also has like a special baked on glaze, which is made from silica and obviously free from forever chemicals. And the glaze is what provides the non-stick element. So it's great for cooking. You can cook on it without oil and with just a little bit of oil if you need it.
I'll be honest, I don't love ceramic cookware. I know it's safe, but I
Yeah.
had a big ceramic pot and I found it really didn't conduct heat very well. It took a long time to cook the food. And then I set it down too hard and it broke in half. And because it's ceramic, so it's very,
Yeah.
very fragile. So I'm just not a big fan, though I know it's safe, though I'm not the hugest fan of that.
Fair enough. Like everybody's got their own preferences, right? It's just a different type of cooking. But then you do have stainless steel, which is considered pretty safe. Doesn't come with a coating. So you can cook your cooking directly onto the pan, and it won't react or leach any harmful chemicals into what you're cooking with. And it's pretty durable at higher temperatures. And then the third one you've got is cast iron.
Oh, I just want to make one comment. I'm going to add a few little comments here,
No,
my
go
little
on.
thoughts. Yeah, and so I think one thing also is stainless. I think you have to be careful about getting ones that don't have nickel in them because nickel will make them shiny. So anything that's super, super shiny typically has nickel in it. So you want to find a nickel and lead-free stainless steel. Because I think some of the cheaper brands can be problematic. And if the pot's really old and it has a lot of pock marks in it, a lot of scratches and things like that. You might want to invest in getting a high quality new product, a name brand that it's, tried and true and look for the nickel and lead free. Because there's some shady, manufacturers out there in China and whatnot. A lot of stuff is made in China, but there's some people that are really cutting corners, and you have to be careful what amalgam is, what metals are in that amalgam of the stainless steel.
Exactly, exactly. So it kind of like it all comes down to really how your style of cooking. I think that's what you need to really kind of decide on what works best for you. I think at the end of the day, when looking for what cookware you wanna purchase.
So this episode is brought to you today by Purity Wood Skincare. So if you care about your health and longevity, which let's face it, if you're listening to this show right now, you probably do, then I assume you know to watch what you eat, get plenty of exercise, and prioritize your sleep. But where I notice so many of my health conscious peers can drop the ball, so to speak, is when it comes to their personal care products. So truly, folks, we all need to be reading the ingredients list on any product that we're putting on our skin. It absorbs directly into your bloodstream. But how often do you buy skincare products because they're labeled as clean or organic, or they have organic in the name of the product, or they say paraben free, only to find out that there's a ton of toxic ingredients in them that are damaging to your skin, your body, and your hormones? Why is it so hard to find skincare products that are truly 100% USDA organic certified? So that's why I use and recommend Purity Woods skincare. So Purity Woods' mission is to provide people with the cleanest and most effective healthy aging and longevity products available. And all of their products are USDA certified organic, non-GMO, free of anything artificial, free of toxic preservatives and synthetic additives like pesticides, chemical fertilizers, dyes, parabens, and of course, it's cruelty-free and never tested on animals. Purity Woods' best-selling product, the age-defying Dream Cream, has been flying off the shelves for a reason. So this formulation includes red maple leaf extract, along with collagen-boosting ingredients like organic mango seed butter and organic Indian gooseberry, which, if you don't know, it's the most antioxidant-rich fruit on earth. And as you know, I'm also a big research geek, and in recent years, there's been some genuinely fascinating science coming out of the University of Rhode Island about red maple leaf extract for the skin. So this little-known skincare ingredient has been shown to block the breakdown of elastin, the key protein in your skin that allows it to stretch and remain firm. So some researchers are even calling this ingredient a potential plant-based Botox, so to speak. So if you're ready to detox your skin routine of all those hormone-disrupting synthetic chemicals that plague 99% of the skincare industry, but you don't want to compromise on results, I highly recommend that you try out Purity Woods' age-defying Dream Cream. And if you don't agree that it's the best skincare you've ever used, your purchase is protected by their really generous 60-day happiness guarantee. But honestly, I've never seen a skincare product of this quality at this reasonable of a price point. And thankfully, the good people at Purity Woods have a special discount code specifically for my listeners. So you can try it yourself for 27% off today. Just go to puritywoods.com/Wendy or enter Wendy at checkout. So that's PURITYWOODS.com/Wendy or enter Wendy at checkout. Yeah, and then what about cast iron? So this is another one. People love their cast iron, especially, our grandmas. My mom loves to cook in her cast iron, and we have cast iron pots in my family that we've had for probably 100 years, that her grandmother used to use that have been passed down. But can you talk about those?
Yeah, well, I think cast iron you have to like kind of develop the non-stick surface, right? Like you have to coat it yourself, from what I understand. So for us, it's like I wouldn't want to have to do that, right? I kind of prefer convenient cooking, like having the pans ready to go straight away, right? So like if it has to be coated for whatever reason, I would highly I wouldn't want to use something like that. But again, they are a safe option to use.
Yeah, I don't like spraining my wrist when I'm cooking. Like the cast iron are just
Yeah.
way too heavy for me. My wrists are just like these floppy, weak things. They don't work for me. They're too heavy. But yeah, you have to season the pot, and that happens over time. And some people love that, but I get concerned about the iron toxicity that can come from cast iron pans, because I think the reason we eat cows and they've got lots of iron in them is because they're eating grass that has lots of iron. They turn that form of the iron into a form that's more absorbable, easy to metabolize. And when people are getting iron from nonstick pans, I think a lot of people are very iron toxic. They don't realize it. Even when they have low ferritin you can have low ferritin on your blood test and still be iron toxic. And iron is very, very toxic to the brain and body for various reasons. I have articles on my website and podcasts about iron toxicity. But with the iron, from the pan, you're only getting maybe 20, you're only absorbing maybe 20 to 30% of that. So you are getting some benefit from that. Say if you do absolutely need iron, but many people that are diagnosed as anemic actually are iron toxic. So there's just like it's a very complex subject to explain that the biochemistry. We've done that on podcasts with Morley Robbins before. If you want to dig into that, the relationship between iron, copper, and ceruloplasmin that's produced, in part by, cues from your adrenal glands. But yeah, but I just, out of propensity of safety, I personally would not use cast iron cookware because of the iron toxicity danger. And if people eat so many iron fortified foods, if people over our lifetime, we've eaten vitamins with iron, fortified cereals and flours and things like that. And you think about all these iron fortified foods, which are not a form of iron your body absorbs very well. Most people are dealing with iron toxicity. And it's not going to be, readily available on most tests you're getting at your doctor. So I just want to like throw that out there because I think that that's important for people to hear.
Yeah, right, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and let's talk about some other options. What's your favorite cookware?
What's my favorite cookware?
Hmm.
Well, it'd have to be ceramic. It's, it's still ceramic cookware, so it's definitely ceramic. I know I love the ceramic pans. I love how like the non-stick element is so good. It just makes cooking super easy for me, especially with having a young child and that I can't spend hours, on the stove cooking food. So yeah, ceramic is my number one. And stainless steel, I'd say, is probably second. It's really easy to kind of like keep them quite clean and tidy, right? And they're pretty durable. So yeah, I would say they're my two top picks that I like cooking with.
Yeah, I like stainless steel too, but I like your pans too. Your line of P600 cookware line. That's what I thought you were going to say. He was like, I like mine the best. But
Well,
can you tell us
of
about yours
course.
and what yours are made of?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So the P600 cookware range, it's obviously ceramic, and it has a special non-toxic PFA-free coating, which is manufactured by ILAG. And ILAG are a Swiss company and considered the leaders in the sector in the development and production of high-performance non-stick cookware. Um, so our three-piece frying pan set retails at 199. But for uh, the Myers Detox podcast, we have a special offer at the moment where you can get the three-piece frying pan set. You get the silicone utensils that you need to use with the cookware. And you also get a free 12-inch griddle pan, which is worth $99. And that whole unit is 179.99, and that includes free USPS shipping in the US.
Oh, great. That's fantastic. Yeah, and you can go to chefsfoundry.com/Wendy to get that deal. But one thing I wanted to say was that when I was saying I don't like ceramic, what I meant was the pans that are completely ceramic, like they're completely made out of clay. And those, it's like, a clay pot essentially, and you drop it or you set it down too hard, it just like the one that I had just broke in half. And I was like, oh my God, I literally had used it 3 times, and it broke. So that's what I was talking about with yours. They have a metal, there's a metal component, correct? And then it's lined with ceramic. So they're very light and very durable because of that. So I just want to make that clarification.
Yeah, they're pretty light. They also have like detachable handles as well, so pretty convenient for storage as well if you're lacking space in the kitchen.
Okay, great. Yeah, and they're great pans. I mean, I really, really enjoy using them because I love nonstick pans. Like who doesn't like nonstick pans? And I think that like your pans, like I said, they're very light, they're very durable. I've been using them for probably over a year. Don't have any scratches on them. They're just they have lasted, and I think they're really good quality. And I really enjoy using them. I was really surprised. I don't know why I was surprised, but I was surprised by how they like held up over time. They're really, really inexpensive, compared to like some cookware sets out there. It's just really shocking how expensive, buying new cookware could be.
Yeah, no, it is. We are pretty competitive in price, so yeah, we can kind of like pride ourselves in that. Yeah, cookware can get crazy expensive when you look on some of the designer like sort of cookware brands out there on a big work like well-known names. So yeah, we like to keep the cost as as low as possibly can be.
And can you talk about the company that makes the coating? You said it's ILAG or ILAG. It's a Swiss company.
ILAG, yeah, they're a Swiss company, and they've been, I think they've been in the industry for like a long time. I don't know exactly how long, but yeah, they're pretty much leaders in producing non-stick coatings. If you look in stores, you can see, I think quite a few of the pans now are using ILAG on the coatings, and that. So yeah, they're pretty well established in the industry, and they also provide a lot of proof to prove that their coatings are free from forever chemicals. So, and we also do test our cookware as well to ensure it is free from PFAS. So, um, just to make sure that it is 100% safe for our customers.
Okay, great. Fantastic. And yeah, again, everyone listening, you have a very special offer for my listeners. They can get the three-piece P600 frying pan set. So you get like a little, like kind of an egg dish, and then a medium, and then a larger frying pan, and then a free set of silicone utensils and a free 12-inch griddle pan, where for a $99 value, all for $179.99 and free shipping in the US as well, which is awesome. That's a fantastic deal. So like I said, go to chefsfoundry.com/Wendy to take advantage of that deal. And what about like enamel pans? Because I've had people like someone left a comment on another podcast that we did a while ago about like La Creuset and pans like this that they're like enamel coated cast iron. Can you talk a little bit about that and maybe some issues with enamel coatings?
Yeah, for sure. So I think one of the key components of the enamel coating, sorry, is glass. And some enamel coatings also can contain trace amounts of lead or cadmium. And I think this is generally the ones that are like colored, that are quite like bright colored. So, exposure to these chemicals over a long time can cause a number of health issues. So I would probably suggest avoiding enamel, or do your own research on it as well. But when the enamel coating chips, it's essentially like glass chipping off into your food, right? So you don't really want to be ingesting, glass into your stomach. I'm sure that's going to cause a number of problems down the line. So yeah, my personal opinion is kind of like be careful with enamel cookware, or just like avoid it if you can.
I want to thank one of our podcast sponsors, Bond Charge. So they have this amazing red light mask here that I absolutely love. I've been using this for about a month now, and I'm really blown away by the results. And so it's time to step up your skincare this year with the red light face mask by Bond Charge. And I just spend like 10 minutes a day wearing this mask, and it has so many different benefits. It really, really works. So this face mask, essentially the red LED lights penetrate really deeply into your skin. They boost collagen production. It reduces inflammation and eases the signs of aging. So if you want plumper, younger looking skin, if you want to significantly reduce or eliminate acne, blemishes, redness, and inflammation, if you want to reduce pigmentation, if you want to stimulate cellular repair and circulation, if you want to reduce puffiness and help to drain the lymphatics in your face. And for you guys, you can use this advanced LED technology to revolutionize your skincare by tackling razor burn, dryness, fine lines, and dark circles. Like, you seriously need to try this mask. It's amazing. And it's really easy to use. I only have to wear it 10 minutes a day, so you can do it while you're watching TV. While, I just do it at the end of my day right before I go to bed. You can do it, while you're relaxing, while you're in your sauna, whatever you're doing. And I really like it because it's totally portable, so I can take it with me wherever I go. And you don't have to have it plugged into anything, so it's totally portable. And I've seen a really big improvement in the tone and texture of my skin. And I really feel like it's helped. I have a lot of sun damage just from worshiping the sun my whole life. So I feel like it's really helped reduce the appearance of the pigmentation from the sun damage. And really, I feel like it's helped with the like puffiness also that we can get as well, and really like the results of this mask. And so Bond Chart is a red light face mask. It's really easy to use to take care of your skin. It's totally painless, and it's not going to heat up your skin or cause any kind of like heat damage or anything like that. And the red wavelength, it's 630 nanometers. So that is used to reduce redness, inflammation, pigmentation, and redness, and it prompts cellular repair and circulation. And the near infrared in this, it's at 840 nanometers. So that targets the deeper fibroblast cells, stimulating new collagen and elastin production, resulting in firmer, plumper, more youthful looking skin. So trust me, you want to get one of these. So try the Bond Charge Red Light Face Mask. You can get it at bondcharge.com. That's BONCHARGE.com, and use promo code Wendy to get 15% off. Yeah, or at the very least, don't use metal or sharp utensils. Don't be cutting and after you've cooked something in the pot. I think it's just with any pan or something like anyone that's using a fork or a knife, it's just like nails on a chalkboard for me. But in any type of pan, you don't want to, no matter what pan you have, you don't want to be scratching it, whether it's stainless steel or ceramic or what. You want to use like the silicone utensils for flipping or whatever you're doing, your pancakes.
Yeah, I think silicon or wood is generally okay, but obviously we get the silicon because that is the best, right? You can't scratch your pants with silicon. If you can, then there's something seriously wrong.
Yeah, and you want to avoid like the black utensils also, like not the silicone ones, but there's like a lot of people use black plastic utensils with their cooking, and so yeah, you definitely want to be avoiding those as well. Those have a lot of very toxic chemicals. I've written lots of emails about those as well, but yeah, the silicone's the way to go. So anything else you want to add to the conversation? Any other advice for people and their toxic cookware?
No, just one piece of advice: don't use Teflon anymore.
Yes.
Simply put, that's it.
Yeah. It's the beyond a shadow of a doubt. We have, unfortunately, the PFAS chemicals in all of our waterways and so much of our packaged foods and, any kind of waterproof coating, stuff that's been put on clothes, a lot of fast food packaging. I mean, it's just the PFAS just being found in everything. So again, this drives home my point. You can take all these different measures, but you can still be ingesting PFAS in the water, and just things that we're exposed to and touching, ingesting on an everyday basis. So you need to be doing daily detox, but you definitely want to, and that's what I help you do on this podcast, go through every area of your home, thinking about everything that you're doing and what kind of toxins might be lurking in your kitchen utensils, in your beauty products. And that's where we're going like one room at a time, one product at a time to try to give you better options. And like I said, I love the P600 line of Chef's Foundry cookware. I think they're fantastic. I personally use them, and so I highly recommend them, and they're very reasonable as well. So David, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and everyone, thanks so much for tuning into the Myers Detox Podcast. I'm Dr. Wendy Myers, and just love doing this show every week to help you guys make those distinctions that you need to make so that you can live a non-toxic lifestyle. Because I want you to be healthy, I want you to feel good, and I want to give you that information, arm you with knowledge, so that you're able to, live a long, healthy, disease-free, medication-free life. That's what I want for you. So thanks for tuning in.
The Myers Detox Podcast is created and hosted by Wendy Myers. This podcast is for information purposes only. Statements and views expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Wendy Myers and the producers, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. Individuals on this podcast may have direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.